What's going on, guys? We'll get started here in a few minutes. Just updating Discord a little bit before we get started. Nothing too crazy. Looking at Bitcoin here, had a massive drop off from that 6,600 level. We were looking at that level in Discord for a while. I did cash out of all my crypto around that level, around 66, 67. We also took a 10x short on my Interdax account, which we're still holding actually. So we're up a decent bit on that. Decent bit on that failure. Still up about 55%. We were up about 90, but I didn't see this failure. I wasn't at my PC, so this little failure downward only lasted about 10 minutes. If you weren't at your PC at the time, really no way to capture that unless you had your buys in place already, which I did not. I'm not really looking at any specific numbers to get back into Bitcoin here. Just looking at kind of the daily massive bull trap coming in. So I shorted basically all of my accounts, cashed out of my accounts. And we're just holding on to it for now. It looks like you are getting a little bit of a bounce on the short term, but the daily is still looking like a complete bull trap. You've kind of already lost your trend as well. Trend from the lows not holding. 4 hour edge to edge would lead you down to about 59, even if you wanted to go down to like 56. Was also looking at the 12 hour here. You could be bullish on the 12 hour cloud up to about 68. Would be kind of crazy to see this full retrace, but you are seeing some massive buyers coming in here right now. Already up 1%, 14 million on the volume. You're trying to breach the 200 EMA. You have not broken the 200 EMA since that top when we saw that failure. You are trying to break it here. VWAP turned off. Let's put VWAP on here. Looking at the futures, you tried to see a nice little pump at the end of the day on the SPY on Friday, but it got sold off pretty much instantly. We had that big pump all the way up to about 2,600. Then you had that shooting star doji come in, and you nuked it from there, right on the edge of the VWAP band. And then you tried to find support on this candle right here. You bounced a little bit off VWAP, off the 200 EMA, and then you failed right off of it. One thing that I was watching was the FANG index for the tech stocks. Had a massive sell-off. You were outside VWAP towards the high there, and then you fell all the way down to the bottom of the VWAP band around 754. It looks like tech had a pretty strong sell-off as well. Looks like Bitcoin is trying to gain a little bit of momentum here, but you are selling off already on the top of this candle. One hour is flicking green here. 5 minutes been green for a little while. 1 minute's been green as well. 50 minutes green as well. No strong trend on the tie though. One hour also getting ready to run into the trail. We did see this massive bull div here on the 1 hour on the way down, but we did not get really. It got a nice bounce, but it didn't play out perfectly, obviously, because this was such a strong failure. You would have to retrace basically all the way to the bottom of the range to fully play out that div. That's why when I typically trade divs, I look for the trail test as like your indication of how much it's going to play out if it is one of these big divs. So we tried to test the trail on that high there, but then we failed a little early, and you saw that secondary sell-off that turned into a very sharp bottom. This would have been nice to take profit on my short on Interdax, but like I said, it only lasted about 10 minutes, so if you wanted your PC at the time, you really weren't catching that move. Basically an instant retrace. Very beautifully called by the Momo. You see the Momo bottom indicator coming in with that pink or purple, whatever you want to call it, coloring. Shows you that bottom warning. Does look like some buyers are coming in on Bitcoin here. You have breached the 200 EMA. Looking at the daily, I just don't see how you'd want to buy this, really. This just isn't really a strong buying opportunity. If you're looking for like a stronger dip buy, you'd probably be looking for around like 5,600, 5,500. I think what people are really looking at here when they're buying the dip is they're looking at kind of this SR flip where you had this massive resistance that broke out at the upside, and now we're quickly retesting it. I can see that, but I wouldn't be taking any major positions off that level. It's not that strong of a level. But if you are taking that position, you do have a pretty clear target around like 75 to 78. So I guess people are looking at it more of a kind of a risk to reward. You kind of have about a 25 to 20% gain you could make on that buy, and probably stop loss around like 10. With how volatile the market is, you'd have to have wide stops. You have regained VWAP here on the 15. That last little failure, same as this one here. You had both of these failures outside of the VWAP band that quickly retraced back inside the band. That's why I recommend you guys using this indicator if you guys are in the Discord. It's very clear. You can use it on many different settings. If you're doing short-term trading, I like the 1-day setting, which is currently on, or the 3-day setting. If you're doing longer-term trading, you can look at like the 30-day or the 1 year. Couple of people who followed off stream. Appreciate you guys. Assassin, Dima, and Leroy. Appreciate you guys following off stream. You could see during that kind of consolidation, you had more of a balanced kind of VWAP, where you had that flat VWAP along the entire consolidation. But then on that last day of consolidation, you were basically negative the entire way. You saw that shift from green to red on the OTS, and then you stayed below VWAP the entire daily session. And you had that last little retest, and then you nuked downward. If you guys are using the OTS, we also had a 1 hour sell signal right on that last candle that I mentioned. Let me see, which one is it here? Hey, Keytoy. Assassin, it's the 3-day VWAP indicator that's available for free to our Discord members. If you guys are in Discord, if you guys don't have access to that, let me know, and I'll make sure to double check. But yeah, right here on the OTS, if you guys have access to the OTS, you had a couple of signals here. So you first off had the pivot on the high that was retested, not perfectly, but you had that push up towards the pivot and not able to break that pivot. So that was your first sign of failure. And then you had confirmation when you flipped from green to red here that you were entering a downtrend. And then you had another confirmation on that sell signal that broke that pivot. So you had that retest the pivot, you acted as support, then you had that sell signal on the trail that broke the pivot. So you could have sold that sell signal, or you could have sold the break of the pivot. So you had multiple points here. You had the failure of the pivot, you had the the green to red, you had the sell signal, and then you had the break of the pivot. The 4 different signs here of a failure incoming. And then if you have the Momo as well, same thing. You had that golden top. You had that top on the pivot, which was a beautiful confluence of both levels. Then you had the green to red shift. You had the loss of the high on the Momo. And then you also had that little bit of a bull trap as well. So beautiful confluence on the indicators if you guys are using them. A couple of ways you could have caught that move. Another thing on the daily, I talked about this a lot in Discord. This is why I cashed out. This is why I sold. I sold a little lower. I sold around 66, 66.50. I did not catch the 6,800 move. But because these daily sell signals were coming in, I cashed out of my crypto. And I pulled out into USDC on my Coinbase, which currently is my biggest account. And then on my margin accounts, I went short. So very nice sell-off here. You are seeing a little bit of a bounce on the 12 moving average, which is kind of that SR flip. But like I said, I don't see a lot of momentum coming in here. I don't see why a lot of buyers would want to buy this level. So I don't see it holding for very long, but we will keep our eye on it. Hey, Keetoy, Battle Gamers, he said, are we going to see another 5K? As of right now, I think we're definitely bearish. All those signals I just mentioned are definitely leading my bias to be bearish. All the sell signals on the daily, as well as not seeing the green on the OTS, as well as not seeing the momentum on the Momo. I definitely think we are leaning more bearish. Damn, TVIX is down quite a lot. TVIX is down to 400. It was up to 1,000 not too long ago. Volatility was trying to rise, but we were seeing a nice increase in the futures on that dip buy. Massive increase if you look at it historically. 21% bounce off the low. Pretty strong bounce for sure. We took advantage of that bounce. We took a lot of trades for our options last week. We did very well. It was the first week of implementing my new strategy, which I'm very happy with. I am probably going to make a few minor adjustments. I did notice that I am pulling the rug on my trades a little too early. Pretty much every single one of my trades, except for the Snapchat trade, they all would have expired 100% profitable, which is the max profit for my strategy. Because I'm not taking naked calls or naked puts. I can't make more than 100%. I am selling premium, so 100% of my credit is the max profit. But I was pulling the plug a little too early. The plays that I was looking at in Discord, if you guys were watching, I took a play on Spy. I took some plays on Roku. I took a play on Ford. I took a play on Snapchat. Roku, this was one of the ones where I pulled the rug a little too early. So this little green zone here, if it closed anywhere in the green, I was shorting here and I was longing here. So this was my max profit for both of these plays, as long as it closed inside the green. So on this little dip here, I got scared and closed this trade break even. So once it pulled back, I closed it break even. And then I closed this one when it pulled back for an 88% profit because I didn't want to take that chance of it failing downward again. I was looking at the probabilities on the option chain. The probability of it failing lower was about 55%. So I actually had a higher probability of losing the trade than I did of winning the trade. So I went ahead and closed it early for about 90%, which I only missed out on 12% profit, which waiting an additional 5 hours was not worth it. It was not worth making 10% to possibly lose my entire trade. So I closed a little early, but if I did hold it to expiration, it would have closed 100% profitable. And for this one here, if I held this one to expiration, it would have closed 100% profitable as well. But with my new strategy, this trade here, longing this spread, this was a protective adjustment. This was not an entry trade. This was the entry trade. This was the adjustment trade. So to protect myself from this increasing above 90 and me losing profit, I took an adjustment trade around 85. So seeing that was the adjustment, that wasn't the entry trade, I didn't want to risk a lot on that trade. Looking back on the Ford trade, this was an older trade. What did I do on Ford? Let me look back at the Discord. Oh, it was a 450 spread. So I took and this was an older trade. This was towards the beginning of the week. I think it was actually, what days were these? Oh yeah, this was way down here. So this was an early trade. I took a trade on Monday for a 450 short. So as long as it closed below 450, I was making money. And if I held it to expiration, I would have made 100%. I closed it for 80%. So that was another one that I pulled a little too early. But you can see why I pulled it. It got very bullish. So it was a good pull. Snapchat was a trade that I took, went completely against me. So I took a max loss on this. I took a 950 short way back here with a protective level around 10. So I was looking for this to kind of fail back downward, fill the gap, and then continue downward. But then it bounced very heavily. So we took a full loss on that, which wasn't too bad. My winnings on my other trades easily covered it. And then we took a few trades. Oh yeah, I talked about Roku already. The Roku trades were the big trades. So next week I'm looking at probably trading Roku again, probably trading Spy, and then obviously some other ones as they come up next week. Make sure you're in the Discord. Keep an eye on the stock channel and the trade channel. I'll make sure to update you guys. Sass, and he said, what will happen with indicators if you and Sticky decide to retire or just leave teaching? The indicators are always going to be there. The indicators take me a little to no time at all to manage at this point. They're already created. I just have, like, every now and then we update them. We add little features every now and then. But as long as TradingView is around, the indicators will be around. And obviously, as long as I'm alive, the indicators will be around. If it ever gets to a point where I feel like I don't want to run the indicator business anymore, we'll just make them free, and I'll make them open source. But that, or maybe not open source, but probably free. But that won't be anytime soon. But yeah, if it ever got to a point where we felt like we just didn't want to sell them anymore, we didn't want to put them on the market anymore, we would probably either just take them off the market or make them free. But that won't be for years to come. The indicators are a good business for me and for the traders as well. I've received a lot of good feedback from like the indicators. And if I ever feel like we're overcharging for the indicators or anything like that, we'll obviously adjust the pricing. But the indicators I've received more good feedback from like the indicator traders than anything else. The traders who use our indicators are doing very well. And I know that doesn't mean a lot for you guys coming from me because I'm the guy who sells them. But we do have a lot of testimonials in the Discord and like on the website and whatnot. But for example, I had a couple of traders who they don't want to be named. They don't want me to make it public, so I respect their wishes on that. But one of them got funded for a 100K Top Step Trader account. So if you guys have heard of Top Step Trader, we had a woman by the name of Robin. Me and her have been contacting each other back and forth on email. She has access to the Oasis Trading Suite, and she said that it was crucial in helping her get funded for Top Step Trader. And that's a $100,000 account, so that could literally change her life. So definitely hearing good things about it. We also had another trader that hit over 100,000 in their trading account not too long ago. We also had a few traders message me who trade NASDAQ and ES futures. We have some forex traders using our indicators. They're doing very well. So if it ever comes to a time where I'm not receiving good feedback or it just seems like the indicators are not a good business, we'll change it up. But as of right now, it's doing good. It's always good to be able to help people while making a little money doing it at the same time. Obviously, it's not a perfect world that we live in. We can't make everything free. I put a lot of time and hard work in those indicators. Making those free would just not be worth it for me. So being able to make people money and make a little commission off of it at the same time, it's a beautiful business, I think. We're offering a lot of sales right now on the indicators. They're 15% off with code bundle if you want to do the bundle package, which you already save a bunch on already. We're going to be offering a basic discount for each individual indicator pretty soon. If you guys want access to like an individual indicator, you can message me and we can talk about a discount. I give out discounts pretty easily as long as you guys contact me and you're just open and you like communicating back and forth with me, and I have no problem giving you guys discounts. But yeah, if you guys are part of the Discord, code bundle is 15% off on top of your 10% off. And then if you're not a part of the Discord, you just get a 15% off by itself as well. I'm getting more and more into options trading. You guys know I've been going back and forth options trading, and then I take a break, I don't like it, and then I go back to it, I don't like it, and I go back to it. But finally, I have sat down and I'm tired of like jumping into options and not giving it the time of day to really learn it and develop a strategy. And I finally sat down. I opened a TD Ameritrade account. I got my platform set up on my widescreen monitor, and I just started diving into different option strategies. And I couldn't find one that I really liked. So I took pieces of different strategies and I built my own strategy out of those kind of different strategies. I'm not going to talk about it very much on stream because it is going to be a private part of our Discord. I'm going to make some videos on my strategy that I've been doing probably the next couple of weeks once I feel comfortable and I've had some time to test it. But for the trades that I've already taken the past week, it was very, very successful. So I'm going to keep trying this week, next week. If I see the same success, I'm going to make some videos and talk about what exactly I'm doing. Hey Fizz, so what I do is I trade on Robinhood still for the options trades, but I use Thinkorswim for like the option chain and like looking at all the different option stats like implied volatility, probabilities, all that stuff. So I use Thinkorswim for all the data, but I execute the trades on Robinhood. But I'm getting ready to move on to Webull or TD Ameritrade. Somebody in our Discord recommended Webull to me, and I heard about them a while back, but I didn't really give them the time of day. I thought they kind of were like a Robinhood copy, and I didn't think they offered a lot. I downloaded Webull from his recommendation, and they're quite impressive. They offer a shit ton of data, and they're leagues above Robinhood when it comes to the stuff that you can do on like your phone, like if you're mobile trading. The amount of data that you can get on Webull is quite impressive. They're also doing a um, they're doing a promotion right now. You guys get 2 free stocks if you want to sign up to them. I can give you guys my referral code. Let me see. But I have no affiliation with them. I'm not doing any like promotions or anything with them. I just checked them out due to a recommendation from a Discord guy. And like I said, I'm quite impressed. I've only been on there for less than a week now, but I'm probably going to fully switch over to Webull if they approve me for options. I think they did already, actually. Or no, that was TD Ameritrade. But I haven't applied for options on Webull yet. If they approve me, it's going to be a very hard decision for me to choose Webull or to choose TD Ameritrade because they're both very good. But here you go. I'll post my referral link here in chat if you guys want to check it out. You'll get 2 free stocks. Here you go. You get 1 free stock for making an account and then another free stock for depositing any amount of money. Here, I'll post it for YouTube guys as well. But yeah, I'm very, very happy. I don't know if any of you guys in here have used Webull before, but it is night and day when you compare it to Robinhood. The amount of data they offer you is exceptional. They offer you this one thing that, let me see what it's called on their app. It's very cool. Let me go to a random stock here and let me see what it's called. Okay, so for not the thing that I was talking about, but another thing, they show you the amount of stocks that are advancing and declining on their platform. So 5,000 stocks on Friday. There was 3,853 decliners and 1,136, advancers. So you can see like kind of an overall outlook on the market, see how many stocks are doing well, how many stocks are doing bad. You can see that on the Dow Jones, the S&P, NASDAQ. They also show you this net inflow and outflow where they could show you like where the money's coming in. So if the money's positive, the money's negative, the overall money coming into the different markets. You also have like your different scanners for like your most active, your hot ETFs, best performing industries. What else do you have? Top losers, top gainers, pretty standard stuff. But let me find that one thing that I was talking about. So if you click on a stock on Webull, you can go to there's little 4 squares on the top right. You click on that. It's right below the volume. It's called positions cost distribution. And it shows you, it's like a volume profile thing. I know you guys can't see this on your screen. I'm on my phone right now. But on your phone, it's like a volume profile thing. It shows you how much volume was traded at each price and where these people bought their shares. And then it shows you how many of those people are making money and losing money. So based on the average cost of that spread, it shows you how many of them are profitable. It's very impressive, actually. They also have like indicators built onto their stock, so you can do like standard indicators, MACD, RSI, Bollinger Bands, all that jazz. One main thing that puts them above Robinhood is you can short. So if you have a margin account, you can short on Webull. I'm starting to sound like an infomercial for Webull, but like I said, I don't have any affiliation with them. But I've been using them for a couple days, and I think I am going to make the switch. They are quite impressive. Not a whole lot going on here with Bitcoin. It's still kind of ranging above VWAP, but below that upper band. Pretty standard balanced day. I can tell this is a balanced day just from how the VWAP is flat. If we pull up the session volume, you can see it's pretty balanced. It's a little bullish. You have a lot more volume kind of towards the high, but it is pretty balanced overall. You got a lot of volume towards that nuke as well. We're right above POC currently. Hey, turn up, what's going on, man? You said, how's the situation where you live? It's pretty standard here, man. There's not a whole lot of cases. I think you're referring to coronavirus. There's only 30... At this point, probably closer to like 40 or 50. There's like 40 or 50 cases in my county, which is a little scary. It's like in my actual county. But pretty much life is standard. Besides all the places that are closed, like restaurants and whatnot, what other things like that, life is pretty standard. When I leave my house to like visit my girlfriend or go get food every now and then, the amount of traffic is less than normal, obviously, but pretty standard. Nobody's panicking. All of our stores are doing all right too. It doesn't seem like anything's really out of stock. Fizz, you said, did you hear Binance going to delist the FTX leverage tokens? I did. I saw that on Twitter. It says they were delisting them because people just didn't understand how to trade them or something like that. Assassin said, why not Charles Schwab, decent bank? I'm just not familiar with any of their like commission structures or their platforms. The only platforms that I'm familiar with are TD, which is TD Ameritrade, Thinkorswim platform, and then like Robinhood and the other small brokers. I don't see anything wrong with TD. Right now, I'm using a pretty small-sized options account. It's not like massive size compared to what I typically trade in crypto. And I just don't feel like I don't feel comfortable having a lot of money on Robinhood because they've been kind of doing a little shady stuff recently with like them dropping. I've been getting a lot of bugs and stuff using their platform recently. Once this option strategy, I can prove to myself that it's profitable consistently, which will be in the next 2 to 3 weeks. Then I'll start to load up an account, and that's when I'll probably be choosing TD Ameritrade, because Webull as well. I trust them with a small account. I wouldn't trust them with like a massive account. But they are SEC insured and everything, so there's nothing really to worry about. As long as they're not trading over, I think it's like 100,000 or 250,000. You're covered under insurance. Hey Josh, what's going on, man? But yeah, besides the Snapchat trade, if I didn't take that Snapchat trade and I had my adjustment in place, so that wasn't a full part of my strategy. That was kind of one that I just kind of let run against me. If I didn't take the full loss on Snapchat, last week was a very profitable month last week was a very profitable week for my option strategy. My losses were very small. I had a break even, I had a minus 10%, and I had a minus, what was it? 20%, I believe. Everything else was almost max profit. And the break even would have been max profit if I held on to it. So, looking pretty good. I want to test it out for another couple weeks before I kind of make videos on it and kind of bring it out in the Discord. I did post a bunch of write-ups in the Discord in the stock channel. I pinned them in the stock channel going over the strategy. It's not the full strategy just yet because, like I said, I'm still tweaking it a little bit. But that is the bulk of the strategy. Assassin said Schwab was about to buy TD, but the deal canceled for some reason. No commission on stock. Didn't try options futures yet. Yeah, I saw a lot of the big brokers are going to no commissions. That's what I like about TD Ameritrade. They went to no commissions, or they're pretty much zero. Charles Schwab isn't that popular in the trading world, to be honest. Probably with bigger guys, like bigger hedge funds and whatnot, bigger traders. But like a lot of the retail guys, it's not very popular. TD Ameritrade pretty much has the retail guys on lock. And their platform is amazing. Their platform truly is amazing. And you can open up a TD Ameritrade account and get free live data, free real-time data with your account. And you don't have to fund it. Like I opened an account, I have no money in the account, and I have free live data. It's pretty awesome. Hey, Og, what's going on, man? That's a clean chart. Yeah, this is one of the charts that I try to keep really clean. It has a 200 EMA, VWAP, and then I typically don't keep the VWAP bands on. I just look at them occasionally, and then I throw on the regular VWAP. And then I have the cloud in the background. It's very dim though, so it doesn't take up a lot of the screen. Typically, when I'm trading, my stock trading, I look at this chart on a 5-minute, sometimes a 1-minute. And then I go to this chart to get some little bit of confluence. And then obviously I look at all my indicators as well. So mainly when I'm like finding my trades right now on options, I'm going to my indicator charts and looking at higher time frames. So like on Roku, when I took the Roku trade, you can see I marked out this pivot. So I had this pivot marked out. I was paying attention to that pivot. And then I can't remember what level this was. I think it was the trail or something. Oh no, this was the gap. I had the gap marked out. And then I was looking at this little green bounce on the indicators. But the reason I liked this short on Roku was the Momo was kind of rolling over. And it looked like a bull trap, and you had that pivot kind of confirming that bull trap. So I really liked that short on Roku. The indicators were all kind of showing that short. So I like looking at the indicators, and then I go to, I look at the indicators on higher time frames typically, and then I go to my cleaner charts on the lower time frames. And I have all my levels marked out on a 5-minute chart. Typically when I'm doing my intraday trading. So a lot of these levels, once they've been tested, like this one, I'll go ahead and delete them, and I'll make new levels. And I basically just do this every day. It's been going very well, man. I'm really happy with my new schedule. I've been waking up, getting on the computer around like 9:30, sometimes around 10, because I typically don't trade the first 30 minutes. If you guys are longtime viewers of mine, you know that. I typically don't trade the first 30 minutes of the market. I kind of let it do its thing and see which direction it's heading in, and then I begin trading. Unless it gives me a very good trade. If it gives me a very good trade, I'll take it. But typically I don't trade in the first 30 minutes. I found way back when I first started trading, when I was penny stock trading, and I was trading stocks, I tracked all of my trades, and I had all my stats tracked, like time of day, everything. And I found that I was most profitable from 10 to 11. Sometimes 11:30 as well. But mostly 10 to 11 was the most profitable time of day for me. And then also around like 2 to 3:30, I was very profitable. So that whole like in between, like lunchtime, I didn't take a lot of trades. And then the first 30 minutes I was not profitable, so I didn't take any trades there. The first 30 minutes was like typically my biggest winners and my biggest losers, but I had more losers than winners, so it wasn't worth it for me to keep trading during the first 30. The opening bell is usually pretty chaotic. But yeah, if you guys are in Discord, if you guys are trading stocks or options, I've been very, very active. I've been much more active in stocks and options than I have in crypto lately. But feel free to join me in the mornings. I do morning calls. I post a lot of stocks and options charts in the channels. You guys are more than welcome to join me. Oops, what did I just do? Deleted the wrong thing. This level was tested beautifully here. Those were not tested yet. We'll keep those. That was nearly tested. Get my charts ready for Monday. Yeah, Keto, usually I'm in voice. I wasn't in voice on Friday because it was Friday and all my positions were expiring. So I was trying to stay focused. But typically any other day but Friday, I'm usually in voice. Usually I'm listening to my 90s rock playlist on Spotify. Just chilling out. Rasaki, you said, will the U.S. employment rate have an impact on Bitcoin? I don't see any direct correlation there with the employment. The correlation for that would be more with the SPY. Bitcoin has been historically, like, it has the highest correlation right now with the SPY than it's ever had. If you guys are not watching the SPY, which is like the U.S. equities market, the S&P 500, if you guys are trading Bitcoin and not watching the SPY, you're doing yourself a disservice. Because right now it has like the highest correlation it's ever had. Hey, Assassin, you said, sorry to be picky. What are the 5 indicators available for Discord members? I can show you. So if you go to our Oasis trading page, the 5 indicators are... So here, I'll just go through all of them, but I'll go through the 5 free as well. So the first 2, these 2 are free add-ons. If anybody in here has the Oasis trading suite and the Momo, if you have both of them, or if you have the bundle package, these are 2 free add-ons. You don't have to pay anything extra, and I'll give you guys access to these. This is one of our premium indicators. This is free. This is free. This is free. This is free. So create a strat, correlated markets, improve CCI, 3-day VWAP, which is also, it's not just a 3-day VWAP anymore. It's anything you want it to be VWAP. TradingView does not allow you to change the name, so it's just called the 3-day VWAP. But this is the free indicator that I use a lot on stream. And then the final one is the Oasis Trading Suite Lite. So the Oasis Trading Suite has the candle colors, the trail, the pivots. The Lite version, it only has the candle colors, which are still very effective, but it doesn't have all the other features. So yeah, this is a free one. And then, sorry, my mouse wheel's not working. And then these 4 right here. And then these are also free for people who have the indicators. Getting a little bit of green here on the 1 hour. You are failing the trail, though. Looks like the Momo is trying to gain momentum here. 15 minutes showing a gravestone here. Nice little shooting star. 5-minute doji as well. Getting a little bit of sell pressure coming in. Back to VWAP, maybe. Keep an eye on it. Aug said, how come Ethereum is pumping harder than Bitcoin usually is? Than Bitcoin, usually it's the other way around. I haven't been watching Ethereum, actually. I think it's just because the liquidity is just completely gone on these... on most of these coins. It's holding this range beautifully. I wouldn't say this is pumping harder, to be honest, because look at this. That is a much steeper pump than we see on Ethereum. Ethereum's more ranging. I would actually say it's not pumping harder. Maybe percentage-wise, on the smaller moves, like the scalping moves, it might be a little different. But overall, in the longer time frames, this is definitely a stronger bounce than we saw on Ethereum. But on the smaller time frames, you are seeing a little more strength. I think it's just a liquidity issue. I think Ethereum, after that massive nuke, I think both Ethereum and Bitcoin and a lot of cryptos, they lost a lot of their liquidity. A lot of their market makers are gone. So I think the books are thinner on Ethereum than they are on Bitcoin. So it's easier to move. Ethereum's getting very close to its 12-hour cloud. 3-hour cloud also holding price down. 50-minute. 50-minute actually, yeah. 50-minute ran pretty hard here on Ethereum. You're hitting the 200 EMA though. A lot of resistance coming in on the 15. He did break the 200 on the 5-minute. This is what you'd be worried about here on Bitcoin if you were short, where you have this kind of resistance on the 200, and then you break through it. You don't see that yet on Bitcoin. You have that resistance, and then you're trying to break through it, but you're already failing. So very different on Bitcoin and Ethereum here. You almost made it back to your range low. Very close. You kind of made it back to that range low. Very, very simple support and resistance failure there. You had that support right before that move up. Broke down, and then you retested it. I'm getting back into doing what I used to do a while back, is finding a lot of these like lower time frame levels. Instead of only paying attention to like 4-hour daily levels. I'm going back and kind of using the lower time frame levels more. They're basically the same levels. Like if you grabbed a 1-hour here, it would basically be the same exact level. But you can kind of see exactly how it reacts to the levels on the lower time frames. Og said, I caught a long at 126 right before it pumped, so I'm happy. 126. Yeah, it's not bad. On the piercing low. Pretty good spot. Anybody who was at their PC right here was a very good trade. I would have closed my short here if I was at my PC, but I wasn't, so... Too sharp of a move. I missed out on that action. It's funny because I was actually looking for a retest of these lows, but it happened while I was watching a movie. Was not paying attention to the markets. I'm being a lot less attentive on weekends now because I'm back into trading options, and I just don't care on the weekends. You know what I mean? I don't trade on weekends. It's one of my rules right now. Don't trade on weekends. But that is mainly a rule for opening trades. I can still close trades on the weekends, but don't open any new trades. I also don't take any overnight positions anymore unless they're like my positions that I have right now. I'm cashing out. That's not really like a trade. So I'm holding cash overnight instead of holding Bitcoin overnight. But yeah, I've been cashed out since like 66.50 on Bitcoin and around, what is that, 137, 138 on Ethereum. I cashed out right before the failure. Or not right before, I cashed out a while ago. Around, I think it was around here. Or no, it was even sooner than that. I think it was way back during this consolidation. But it was somewhere in this range. I posted it in Discord. Posted a screenshot of me cashing out. Like I said, I haven't been paying too much attention to it on the off hours. So tomorrow, if you're in the Discord, make sure to watch out for the summary of markets write-up. We will be releasing that around 4 p.m. probably. I posted the last one in our Telegram, our free Telegram. So if you guys are not in that, you can check out our write-ups. I post all of our write-ups around Friday or Saturday, the previous week. So like last week's write-up, we posted in Discord on Sunday, and then we released it to Telegram just yesterday. You guys can kind of see them in hindsight. I also finally, I finally cut up those ExoCharts videos and got them ready to be uploaded. So I'll try to have those uploaded in the next week or so. Those ExoCharts walkthroughs that we did. I got them highlighted on Twitch, so if you guys want to watch them on Twitch, they're already there. And then I'm going to get them cut up and posted on YouTube pretty soon as well. Kind of losing this uptrend here. You're back below the 200 EMA. Like no volume though. This looks like a strong sell-off, but it isn't. There's like no volume on this sell-off. You can see the massive difference in volume on this piercing bottom here. It's really interesting to see how typically if you see this kind of pattern on stocks or like equities, you'll see the most amount of volume around here, like when it starts bouncing, but you don't see that on Bitcoin. On Bitcoin, you have the most volume when it starts pushing the first time, then it liquidates everybody, and then you have the most amount of volume typically after it's already bounced, because the liquidity is gone, right? There's no liquidity here. So typically you have more volume when it bounces fully. If you look at the same pattern, typically on stocks or like penny stocks or whatnot, most of the volume are going to be in these two candles, or even this candle here on the bottom. So it's interesting to see how that volume plays out in Bitcoin. Assassin said, is it worth it to dig into the market profile or volume profile is enough? Those letters on the chart look like alien language. Yeah, so I always recommend people to like market profile, like doing order flow trading. if you're a big fan of like volume profile, if you're a big fan of like the auction process, um, the like balanced profiles and like looking at how price is reacting to the point of control and the value area high, value area low, all that kind of jazz. If you're a big fan of that kind of trading, then I recommend learning the market profile order flow stuff because that's like the advanced version of the volume profile trading. So once you're sufficient in your learning for volume profile, you should move on to the advanced stuff. But if you don't really like that kind of trading, if you don't like the volume profile trading, there's no reason to really get into order flow trading because it's pretty much the same thing, it's just more advanced. So only do it if you're a fan of that style of trading. It's a whole system in itself. It's like Fibonacci trading is its own system, Elliott wave trading, moving average trading, all that stuff. It's like its own system. If you don't like the beginning stages of the system, you're probably not going to like the advanced stages. If you're watching a 1 minute chart, you can see how kind of this point of support is being front ran a little bit. He said, understood. Just your examples of volume profile and using exit charts was mind blowing. Even though with moving average EMAs, no brain strategies, you were anyway in profit. So you found that you were able to trade profitably with those setups. Yeah. So if you like that kind of stuff, if you like the volume profile and exit chart stuff, I highly recommend reading into like market profile, order flow stuff. Also, there's a couple of books. One of the main ones is Markets in Profile. The auction Markets in Profile, profiting off the auction process, I think it's called. It's one of the books I read a long time ago when I first got into volume profile. Markets in Profile. Let me see what it's exactly called. Yeah, Markets in Profile, profiting from the auction process. That's a very good book. Yeah, no problem. The relative volume's catching up with the current volume, so we should see a little bit of a bounce or a failure here. Should see some volume coming in is what I'm saying in the next probably 5-10 minutes. Typically when you see this decrease in volume, the relative volume on the blue line, once it catches up to kind of like no volume, you'll start to see some breakouts. Going back into like options trading and getting back on my schedule of waking up in the morning and trading stocks and options. The weekends are boring as hell now. The weekends are extremely boring. Especially now that we're on quarantine and I can't do really anything. Everywhere that I would go outside of my house is closed. Extremely boring. Need to get back into reading books. So here you go. Decent amount of volume coming in. This is what I was talking about. The next candle, probably the next 4 or 5 minutes, you'll see some volume. Because there is no volume on the relative. There you go. There's the volume coming in. So if you guys are short-term traders, you guys are scalpers, one thing to look out for is what I was just saying. If the relative volume gets to a point where it's so low that it's damn near zero and it's way it's at the point where any kind of volume would break the relative volume, that's typically where you'll see the volume start to come in. So like right here where the relative volume is kind of pushing the volume down, and then you finally get to a point where any kind of volume would break that relative volume, then you see that volume coming in. That's a little tip for you guys who trade shorter time frames. Assassin said about weekends, as soon as the CME market closed, there is mayhem and anarchy on crypto markets begins. You're talking about when it opens. Kind of destroys a home when parents kind of, you're talking about like how the, yeah, I got you. Yeah. So, yeah, typically the weekends are very boring until around Sunday, around 6 p.m. Or I think it's 7 p.m. now because of daylight savings. Or no, it's 6 p.m. because it's CME. It's a regular market. Yeah, so 6 p.m. is usually when the CME opens. And that's when you get a lot of that craziness. Do we have any recent gaps? Take a look. We actually do have a gap here. I didn't see that. Oh no, it's not a real gap. It looks like a gap on the daily, but it's not a gap on the 4-hour. The way the CME closed looks kind of bullish. Like you have a very strong base. You kind of have that trend, but you consolidated through the trend. So you could literally go either way, the way the CME closed. And then we saw which way it went because you saw the failure on Bitcoin. Kind of the same thing there. Almost like a ascending triangle, rising wedge. I don't see any gaps though on the CME. You have that major gap way back around 9,000. Nothing else though. I like these candle colors that I'm using. What colors are these? Almost like a pastel color. Oh, there you go. So I looked away for 2 seconds. There's the volume. Perfect example of what I was talking about. I told you guys in the next 5 minutes you're probably going to get some volume. That's exactly what you got. So when that relative volume gets very low like that, just be ready for some volume to come in. And then boom, there you go. Massive volume came in. Sorry I missed that. That would have been really good to catch on stream. I looked away for 2 seconds. Another tip for you guys who like to trade short time frames or really any time frame. I have a video on this, but I'll reiterate it. So I call these pivots in the video, but now that we have the OTS that has its own pivots, I changed the name of this technique to buy and sell pressure. So typically, when you see wicks that are like back to back in the same zone, kind of like how we see here, like all over the place, you see it very, very common. Actually, that's not one. But when you see these wicks that are back to back in the same zone on like a rally up or a rally down, or sorry, a failure down, that will give you kind of buy and sell pressure, right? You can use this on any time frame. You can use it for scalping, whatever. And I marked this. You see how I marked this on the chart as sell pressure because you have those two wicks right here that are back to back on a high. So you have that price pushing up, right? And then you have that sell pressure on that high. So that's like one of the best places you want to see that sell pressure or that buy pressure, right? So buy pressure on the low, sell pressure on the high. And you could either short it right away, which is not a very high probability trade, but it did work out this time. Or you could wait for kind of a retest. And then if you start to fail that retest, you can take a very good short on that level. This is a very high probability trade that I take a lot in my scalping trading. So that's another little tip for you guys. So if you waited for my entry that I typically wait for, the retest, you would not have got filled. But if you did take that trade right away, you would have got filled. You had a nice little failure there. Hey, Fabio, you said the last red bar is the last, sorry. The last red bar is a buying stop hunt. Oh, you're talking about this, like, failure? Yeah, so depending on how many, like, lows this grabs, so if this is on a higher time frame, I would definitely call it, like, a stop hunt. You can see them on lower time frames. Like, we're looking at a 1 minute right now, so it's really hard to call patterns like that on a 1 minute. But so for an example, if this was a higher time frame and you were seeing like a run up, let's say you put in a low, you put in a low, you put in a low, and then you start to fail downward, right? Where is your liquidity going to be? Your liquidity is going to be here, it's going to be here, and it's going to be here. Because what most traders do is if they're buying the bottom or buying if they're longing, they're going to trail their stop losses along the lows, right? Or they're just going to put their stop loss on the low and leave it there. So if you have a very clean trend like we see here, you'll typically have a very violent counter trend. Because if the trend is very clean on the way up, that means that these lows were not being taken. Right? So on the way down, it should be very violent. That's why you have that kind of, that saying, take the stairs up, elevator down. So it takes the stairs up, and then it takes the elevator down, because it's grabbing those liquidity levels. That's what you would see kind of a stop hunt, right? And you kind of see that here, where you see these levels being grabbed. Same thing on a downtrend. If you have a very clean downtrend and you don't have those highs being taken, typically when you bounce, you'll bounce very sharply, and you'll knock out those highs. That's why clean is not always good, because the longer this goes on in a very clean fashion, the more violent it's going to be when it reverses. This was a nice little pullback here because you had a very sharp bottom, and then you kind of had that distribution, and then you broke the distribution, and you kind of liquidated that short-term liquidity. You took that distribution liquidity, and then you kind of found support on that high, right? And then you created a new trend, right? You kind of had that new trend forming. So it wasn't completely clean all the way from the bottom, because you did grab that liquidity right here before you kind of created a new trend. That was a nice little stop in the bounce. Yeah, no problem, man. You can see that on many time frames. Like we see it on the daily as well. So what do we see here? Very clean. You don't have these levels being grabbed, right? And then what do you see? You see a violent sell-off that grabs 2 to 3 lows. And then you try to recover, but then you fail downward, and then you get even more violent. We're still bouncing off that 200 EMA on the weekly pretty nicely. What's the monthly Heiken Ashi look like? Monthly Heiken Ashi is completely red. You said the big provides are all the liquidity also during the retracements. Are you... Sorry, let me see. Not sure exactly what you're asking, Fabio. What do you mean by the big? Do you mean like the big players? The market makers? So it doesn't really matter who it is. You can see it on exo charts more if you want to like dive deep into it. See like where the big orders are, where the small orders are. I don't really care too much about who it is, but typically it's a retail strategy. So typically it's retailers. So if the retail guys are trading, what they love to do is follow the highs and the lows. You see this a lot. I'm sure you guys have done this in chat. A lot of the little traders, it's a very common strategy because it's so easy. You just wait for highs and lows to be put in, then you follow your stop losses. So it's mainly a lot of the smaller guys that kind of use that strategy. And the bigger guys are the ones who take advantage of that. You're not seeing a whole lot of follow through here on this bounce. You see a lot of volume coming out on the low of the bounce, but then look at the volume as price is rising. This is not a lot of follow through. It's not going to be enough to break this range low unless you see some more volume come in. You could also see this on a 5-minute, kind of the same thing, that range low there. No volume coming in on that follow through. You would need to see some more volume come in. That 15 minutes very disgusting because you retraced that entire failure downward. If you're day trading right now, be very, very careful. I would probably be using 1-minute charts if I was day trading this, because this volatility is very disgusting for these kind of mid time frame charts. A lot easier to see on the lower time frames. How to identify a sell-off like that? Use your footprint chart. So there's a couple of things that alerted you to the sell-off. I alerted this on stream. You guys saw it live. I called out the sell pressure. You also had that failure of the 200 EMA. The 1 minute. I told you guys there was a lot of volume incoming because of the volume trick that I used with the relative volume. There's many different ways you could identify that. But yeah, if you're watching a footprint chart short term, you'd be able to see the orders coming in. You can also see you clearly lost your uptrend here. So like, look at this uptrend. You lost your uptrend. I'm sure there were some other key factors as well. Oh, we had the 1 hour sell signal. I called that out on stream as well. We had the 1 hour sell signal on the indicator. Pretty much perfectly calling the high there, 62.97. That 1 hour sell signal back here called the nuke as well. The 1 hour trail is exceptionally good at calling these bigger moves. You also had a 10 and 21 crossover there. I don't use these a lot on shorter term crypto trading because crypto is just so volatile and so iffy. But on stock trading, on like intraday trading, using the 10 and the 21 EMAs are very helpful. If you guys trade short-term stocks, I typically use it on a 5-minute. 5-minute, 15 is good as well. I'll occasionally look at the higher time frames, like the 1 hour, 4 hour. But I'm usually trading intraday for my setups. Like the 4 hour here is not looking too good on Bitcoin. The 10's crossing below the 21. You are trying to accumulate a little bit, but not looking too good. You rejected the 21 on the daily. You can see you crossed down way up here around 96. Popped up and failed it pretty much perfectly. And then nuked. Very simple trading with these two moving averages. Og said that 64.47 looks good for a short with a tight stop loss. If you're into scalping, 64.47. I had that level. Let me see. Oh, right here. Yeah, that's that range low. You could also grab, since this one's not really the range low for the bodies, you can see it's mainly for the wicks. I'd probably grab something like this for the range low of the bodies. So both of these would look like pretty decent shorts. This would be like the early short. This would be like the wider short. Lee, I can't explain how to use volume profile in the stream. I already have a whole video on that. It's a very long topic. It's actually my #1 video on my channel. It's got almost 20,000 views. So go to my playlist on YouTube, How to Trade, my How to Trade playlist. It's the first video on there. How to Trade volume profile. I also am getting ready to release some exo charts videos on how to trade footprint trading, like market profile. They're already on my Twitch. If you guys go to my Twitch, they're in my highlights. I'm going to have them posted on YouTube probably within a week. But yeah, I've got videos. Pretty much anything I talk about on stream, guys, I already have videos on my YouTube for. So if you guys want to learn all my techniques and whatnot, it's pretty much all on YouTube. It's in that playlist, How to Trade. I got a ton of videos in there. You said depends on how we get there. If it's a slow grind, I wouldn't take the short, but a quick extended move, yeah. If it's like just a massive bounce up, it would be a nice short. It's one of those high probability trades. You see a nice distribution, breaks down, retest it. It's a pretty standard trade. Alex said it really requires you to beat your PC. Yeah, it does. That kind of short, I would definitely not leave in the books. Dima said, do you use exocharts for intraday or TradingView is enough? The thing is, there are too many ways to get to similar results, but some of them require more efforts. Reading order book, footprint bars, etc. I just more and more assure myself that there is no point to overstrain yourself for literally 0.5% difference in trade. Yeah, so if I'm like actively scalping like low time frames, looking at a 1 minute, I'll look at exocharts. That's like the only time I use exocharts is um if I'm doing scalping, like very, very heavy scalping. For my normal day trading, I don't need it. Fabio said, how do you consider yourself a level trader, breakout trader, or retracement trader? So all of my techniques could be combined into one kind of system that revolves around trading the shift in momentum. So like my Momo indicator, my Oasis trading suite indicator, all of my accumulation distribution techniques, my volume profile technique, all of my techniques can all be summed up in trading momentum and the shift of momentum. Lee said, "Are your volume indicator be able to use a NinjaTrader platform?" Very soon, is all I can say. Lee, we are working on getting our indicators on NinjaTrader. And which volume indicator do you mean, Lee? Volume profile is already on there. They also have VWAP bands on their order flow system. Um, they also have, I think, some order flow stuff, but you have to have like I think you have to have like a higher end license. But they have a lot of order flow stuff on there already. Yeah, Lee, we're gonna make announcements when that stuff is ready. It's a completely different coding language, so it's gonna take us a long time, but we are working slowly. Which indicator are you referring to? Nice little buy up here, but not a lot of volume just yet. Only 1.7 million. Yeah, currently all of our indicators are available on TradingView. We're in talks with different platforms right now. We're actively trying to get them added onto NinjaTrader, and that's it for right now. The volume indicator? Oh, this is just normal volume, man. This is just normal. This is on. You can find this on any platform. This is just standard volume. This is just a moving average. I'm using a 12 moving average. Yeah, you can find this anywhere, man. I'm not sure how to add the moving average on TradingView, or sorry, on NinjaTrader, but I'm pretty sure you'll be able to. Yeah, all that is volume and then a 12 moving average on the volume. One-minute bulldog coming in. If you see this pop up here and then kind of consolidate, it's very bullish. Fabio said, I would like to try ATOS for high volumetric analysis. I'm not sure what that is. Sorry, I missed your old message. I like how you use VWAP, especially with volume profile. Yeah, VWAP is very, very, it's very good to use with volume profile. You should always use them together. Yeah, this is Bitcoin. This is a live market right now. So only if this pops up and consolidates is this bullish. If it breaks the lows or creates a third leg, it's not a bulldog. It has to be two legs. You'd want to see it come up and then kind of consolidate and then push higher. Maybe even a consolidation downward and then push higher. So as of right now, we have 740 coronavirus cases in my state. We're actually doing very well compared to the states next to us, besides West Virginia. They were the last state in the country to get a case. New York has more cases than the rest of the country combined. That's crazy. Insane, man. You said, I see that the retracement has got low volumes. I think it will go down. Yeah, so you're looking at kind of high volume, low volumes, kind of like a bear flag technique. So it's failing right where we expected. If this wants to be bullish, it has to pull back and kind of consolidate and then push higher. But here's the pullback. Now let's see if the buyers step in here. You do not want to see it lose like 62.15. It gets lower than this, the pullback's too deep. Not a whole lot of volume coming in. You can see how much cleaner the candle colors make this. Like, that's the regular chart. You see how disgusting that is? And that's what we're looking at. Way easier to trade. Hard to see, but you do have a green cloud twisting here. I don't really use the cloud on the 1 minute, but it is flipping green. What's the 15-minute cloud? 15-minute cloud's green as well. Still holding the pullback, pretty standard. This is also the 200 EMA though, so the 200 EMA is making this a little harder for the bulls. How is Ichimoku indicator? Never studied it. It's very good. I think it's one of the best indicators there are. Ichimoku is a system in its own. It's more of a system than an indicator. I have a whole video on my Ichimoku strategy. I built a strategy on Ichimoku that is a full open. It's an open and closed strategy. So you open, you close, take profit, stop losses, everything. That whole strategy is gone over in my Ichimoku video on YouTube. I talk about how to use Ichimoku, and then I talk about the strategy. I don't use the strategy 100% anymore. I use it in tandem with other strategies, but it is very powerful. The indicator is very, very strong. It seems complicated, but when you understand what it's showing you, it's very simple. I can give you like a basic rundown. It's extremely simple. Not of the cloud. The cloud's a little more complicated. I can give you a basic rundown of like the lines though. Like the conversion and baseline, these are very simple. The blue line is the conversion line, also known as the Tenkan line. It shows you the 9 candle midpoint. So of 9 candles, it takes the highest point, the lowest point, and it gives you a midline. The black line is the baseline, also known as the Kijun line. It's the same exact formula, but for 26 candles. So it takes 26 candles, and it finds the midpoint. The cloud is taking these formulas and using them on a bigger scale, basically. It's basically, if I had to sum it up, it's looking at the average prices of short-term and mid-term price action and giving you a kind of longer term projected outlook on support and resistance. So it takes into account short-term price action, mid-term price action, and it pushes it forward to look at a longer-term scale. If you're looking at Bitcoin, my favorite time frames are 3-hour and 12-hour. You can see why they play into these levels very, very strongly. If you used my system on Bitcoin, you had multiple sell signals. You had one back here, and you had one back here as well. You would have closed your short here, or you would have taken profit all the way down. Same is said on the 3-hour. You had multiple sell signals on the way down, all the way up. I go over that in my video. So far, Bitcoin is doing exactly what we thought it would. Let's see if it plays out. Now, this is where it would start to need to find buyers. It needs to have the buyers step in and push it up, or it's going to fail. The volume's starting to come in. It looks like it's going to the sell side. Yeah, I recommend it to all new traders. I think if you're a trader who doesn't want to like build your own system and you don't want to build your own like strategies and whatnot, a strategy that's tried and tested and it's very clean is the Ichimoku system. It's not like a full-on strategy by itself. You do have to make some rules and whatnot for yourself, but it does a lot of the technical analysis for you as long as you you learn it properly. And I do not recommend changing the settings. I think use default settings. A lot of people like changing the settings. I don't recommend it. Those settings that are default were tested over years and years. For the guy who made the Ichimoku system, he backtested those settings for a long period of time. Now, there is an argument where it wasn't designed for a 24-hour market, so you have to change it for crypto, blah, 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 blah. I don't believe it. I've shown time and time again the default settings are very successful in crypto. It's still holding this low. This pullback's not very deep. It's not really where you'd want to see it, but it's still holding for now. You are getting a little bit more resistance because that 200 EMA is right there. You also have the cloud as well. So you have the cloud and the 200 EMA holding price down here. This market is slow, man. Look at this volume. Trying to wait and see if this plays out, but it's just not giving us any action. At this point, the bulldog is dead because it hasn't popped on that head. Typically with the bulldog, you want to see the bottom, curved back, bottom, pop, pull back, instantly break the head. This is too long of a consolidation. More of an inverse head and shoulders at this point. Still being held down by the cloud. 50 minutes still inside the cloud, very choppy. 30-minute, really deep cloud ahead. 3 hour just broke through the cloud. Looks like you're going to flip red pretty soon as well. Very tight green cloud. Probably one more failure will flip this. You said you left technical analysis for volume analysis 2 years ago, but you think the technical analysis is useful? Yeah. Yeah, I do a little bit of both. I think volume analysis is pretty much the same thing as looking at technicals. Always good to have a mix. But alright guys, I'm going to call stream on that. I appreciate you guys being here. Pretty standard. Actually went a little longer today, almost 2 hours. Like I said, if you guys are, anybody's new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button on YouTube, follow button on Twitch. I do stream typically 4 times a week. I got a ton of stuff, free content on YouTube. If you guys are new to trading, go look at the How to Trade playlist on YouTube. I also have a free beginner trading course with some more advanced stuff on our website. There's a free course, about 200 slides. Just go to our website. You don't have to sign up or anything. It's right there on trading course. Website is oasistrading.io. We also have 50% off the Discord right now, 15% off the indicators. What else? Basically all I got for you guys. I will be doing some more live trading in the Discord for my options strategy on Monday. So if you guys want to get involved, make sure to just be around in the morning or whenever the market is live. I'll be trading. Looking at some new trades on SPY, probably some new trades on Roku, maybe Snapchat. A few different stocks we're looking at. I'm going to pick up that hidden gem. I told you guys about that hidden gem in the stock channel last week. I found it. I'm not going to talk about it on stream, but in Discord, make sure you keep an eye on that. It went up like 7% on Friday just alone. It's extremely undervalued. I'm looking at picking it up, holding it long-term, probably for 1 to 3 years. So make sure to read up on that. And yeah, that's all I got for you guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow for stream around 6 p.m. We'll also be posting the weekly write-up tomorrow around 4 p.m. And that's all I got. You guys have a good rest of your weekend. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.